Hey everyone, and welcome back to the channel where we talk about video game music, sound design, and implementation. In this video, we're going to open up a brand new Wwise project and see how to implement your sounds, your music, and your dialogue. We will also look at how to then put your sounds into events and play and test them in the Soundcaster. This will be part 1 out of a 3-part series in handling audio in Wwise. Just a quick note before we get started, Audiokinetic just came out with their new 2025 version of Wwise, and it has so many brand new additions. This also means that the format might look a little different from this video with all the new additions that it has, but don't worry, all of the concepts in each part of this series will still apply to any version, just with some different naming and placements. And if you haven't already, and this is your first complete time looking at Wwise, I recommend you check out my first video to understand what the heck Wwise even is and briefly looking at its interface before you get started. So with that being said, let's get on to the video. The first thing you do to get Wwise is to go to audiokinetic.com and to download the Audiokinetic launcher. From there, it'll tell you to download depending on what hardware you're using, and just follow the instructions in order to download. Once you're done with that, open the Audiokinetic launcher and go to Wwise. It'll show you the versions that you can install, and if you want to follow this tutorial to a T, you can get the 2023.1.4.8496 installed version, which is the one I will be using today. So I've opened up a brand new Wwise project here, and I'm just going to name it DX/MX SFX Demo. Just something to notice here, my interface might look a little different from yours. It depends on how you set up your views. I personally like to have 2 Project Explorer tabs open so that I can see both the audio on my left and my events to the right, or whichever you want to see. To do this, just go up to the Views and select the desired view tab that you wish to add to your interface and just drag it on. An orange highlight should appear signaling that you can drop it there. So the first step to creating a project workflow in Wwise is to understand what the project you're working on is about. For this one, let's just create a scenario. I want an overworld music that can grow in intensity, some rame ambience, and for dialogue, we can have both the main character and some other characters. So once we have those, we have an idea of what we want, and we can tweak it to better fit our project along the way. Okay, so once we have our empty project set up, we're going to set up specific work units to keep our projects organized. Keep a habit of creating your own work units instead of using the default ones, because if you ever work on a team audio project, it's good to keep separate ones so that each of you know who's working on what when collaborating. Okay, so for the work unit, let's create an ambient work unit and a dialogue work unit in the actor-mixer hierarchy, since they're something other than music. And then an interactive music work unit. Let's start with dialogue first. For dialogue, this project calls for 2 different setups, a main character and a set of various other characters. Let's start with the set of various characters, or one-shot characters. That basically means that these events represent individual characters that play separate lines and can overlap. So if the player triggers multiple lines, they can all stack like a crowd. To do this, we will first create a new actor-mixer child within the dialogue work unit. Let's name it Character One-Shots. And within this, we will create a folder also called Character One-Shots. Having a folder within the actor-mixer child can be good if you need multiple folders to differentiate between things if you have more than one line per character. So now we're going to import our one-shot files into our Character One-Shot folder. Make sure your files are mono WAV files and that we have it set to a dialogue sound. If you need to change your sound from dialogue to sound effects or vice versa at any time, Wwise has a cool feature where you can right-click on the file and go to Convert to Sound Effects or Sound Dialogue. To keep our sounds organized, let's use the naming convention VO, your character's name, and the first 3 words that the character is saying. And we're done!
What are you before the terror of the sun?
Security threat confirmed.
Now let's create our main character line. The project calls for the main character to have 3 to 6 mono lines played sequentially one after another. To do this, we will start the same way as the other dialogue. Create an actor mixer child and a folder within it, both named Main Character Voice. Now, here's how we make the sequence. We add a sequence container and we name it VO Main Character Sequence. We then drop our mono file into the playlist container. Name them like the other files, but to make it easier to follow, you can put the number of the order you want them to play in so that you remember the order. Now, see how your files show up here? Drag them from the top to the bottom of your playlist. Now go to your General Settings tab and make sure that you have these settings. The play mode should be set to step so that they play step by step. And play type should be a sequence that starts over when played from the beginning. So when you restart the level, it starts from the first file. And we're done setting up our dialogue.
I hate to tell you this after everything you've been through, but there's another fight brewing and I need your help. I can't leave everyone at the mercy of that machine. Dervahl's machine has to be shut down.
Now let's add some ambient sound effects. Create an actor mixer child in the ambient work unit. Let's name it Ambience. And within that, add a folder named 2D Environmental Ambiences. Don't get confused with this meaning mono. It just means that the ambience isn't spatialized, but it will still be stereo. Import your ambient sounds and make sure that it shows up as a sound effect. Let's name it SFX Rain Heavy Loop, or whatever matches the type of rain sound you have. Perfect, now we have rain. Now let's move on to music. In the interactive music work unit, let's create a playlist container and name it MX Overworld. Create a new music segment within the playlist container and name it the same. Here I have 3 different loop files that all work together musically. I'm going to import them as music tracks. Once imported, go to the playlist container and drag your music segment into the music playlist. For settings, set it as a continuous sequence and make sure to put it to infinite so that it loops. From here, you can adjust the tempo, the time signature, and the red marker to where you want the music to begin looping again. Reverb tail or not depending on the type of music that you wrote. The first loop is going to be layer 1 and will be my exploration track, the track that will continue the same throughout the overworld level. And the the other two will be tension tracks, something like percussive elements that add tension to the overall music. We are done importing our files into our Wwise project. Of course, later you should always add things like a proper busing structure and RTPCs for more dynamic control of your audio. But for now, this will do to see the basics of starting a project. Finally, let's look at how to make your sounds have action. Go to the Events tab and create 4 different event work units. The first 3 will be the same as your audio work units, but will be named with events instead of work units, to keep it more clear as to which is what. The last event work unit will be called Global Events, and this is what controls all things at once if needed. In the Ambience work unit, create an event child and name it Play Rain. In the event editor, right-click and select Play for the type. For the target, select the Rain SFX file. Now we will do the same for the dialogue, but add separate folders within the event work unit first to distinguish between our one-shot characters and our main characters. This is why folders are important. Note that for the main character, instead of putting each dialogue line, we place the sequence container, so it keeps the property of playing one by one at a time like we made it do before. Whenever you place things in the events or any targets that are higher up in the hierarchies of parent-child relationships, those parents keep the children that they have. So, for our music, we add an event, right-click, choose play, and set the target to the parent of the playlist container, since we want all of our layers to play together. Finally, we have our global events. In here, we will add 2 events only, Start Game and Stop Game. In Start Game, we want to play everything that would start at the beginning of our level. So that would be the music and the rain. So we are going to drag our events of Play Rain and Play MX Overworld into our Start Game event. For our Stop Game event, we just have to right-click and add Stop All. And to make a more smooth transition when stopping everything, we can make it fade out and we can adjust the fade time a bit to make the curve not so rigid and more smooth. Great, we have our sounds and our events to properly act with it. Now, how do we control what we want to hear and when? This is where the Soundcaster comes in. On your keyboard, hold Shift-S to open the Soundcaster. Click New and name it Project Test, or whatever you'd like. Now we're going to drag each individual element that we've created into the Soundcaster. Now we can hit the play buttons to test to see if everything works.
I can't leave everyone at the mercy of that machine. Derval's machine has to be shut down. Shouldn't use my weapons up here. Would be cheating.
That will be for the goddess to decide.
Don't be too hard on them. They only joined this fight to save the world.
Security threat confirmed.
Hunter, if she's careless.
And guys, that's it for part 1 of this series. We set up a clean Wwise structure, properly imported and organized assets, created events, and tested everything in the Soundcaster. In the next video of this 3-part series, we're going to build on this project by setting up things like a proper mixing structure with buses, RTPCs, and how to layer music and weather systems. Thank you guys for watching. If you like this video, subscribe, give a thumbs up, and leave in the comments anything that you'd like to say. Keep scoring, keep exploring, and as always, happy creating. I'll see you guys in part 2.